Have you ever found yourself holding on to something you knew you should let go of? Maybe it's an old grudge, a missed opportunity, or even a relationship that no longer serves you. Why do we cling so tightly to things that only bring us pain? What would happen if you just let go? Imagine this. You're carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a worry, a fear, or a hurt from the past. The longer you carry it, the more it weighs you down, making it harder to move forward. But what if, one by one, you started to remove those stones? How much lighter would you feel? How much farther could you go? This is the power of letting go. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore life-changing insights rooted in the wisdom of Buddhism. Today, we're diving into the transformative power of letting go. How it can change your life, bring peace to your heart, and help you move forward with freedom. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools and understanding you need to begin your own journey of letting go. Before we get into it, I want to remind you of something important. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of people are subscribed. If you find this video helpful or inspiring, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It's a small action that makes a big difference. We're here to help you grow, and we'd love for you to be part of this journey with us. Let's begin by understanding the importance of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or losing. It means freeing yourself from the chains of attachment that cause suffering. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as the root of all suffering. The more we hold on, whether it's to material things, people, or even our own ideas, the more we struggle. Letting go, on the other hand, opens the door to peace and clarity. But how do we do it? How do we let go of things that feel so important to us? It starts with a simple realization: nothing is permanent. Everything in life is always changing, including us. By accepting this truth, we can begin to loosen our grip on the things that we believe define us. As we continue this journey, you'll learn how to apply the wisdom of letting go to different areas of your life. Stay with us, because what you're about to learn could change everything. Understanding attachment, the root of suffering. Attachment. This is where so much of our suffering begins, my dear friend. You see, we spend our lives clinging to things, to people, to ideas. We believe that these things will bring us happiness, that they will complete us in some way. But in reality, the tighter we hold on, the more we hurt. We attach ourselves to things that are temporary, things that will inevitably change, and when they do, we feel pain. This is the nature of attachment, and this is where the root of suffering lies. Let's explore this idea together. Have you ever noticed how, when you desire something deeply, it consumes your mind? It's all you think about, all you focus on. It could be anything: a new job, a relationship, or even an object you want to buy. In that moment, it feels as though achieving or obtaining that thing will make you happy. But what happens once you get it? The excitement fades, and soon you're left wanting something else, something more. This is the cycle of attachment. The Buddha taught that all suffering stems from attachment. We attach ourselves to things we believe will bring us happiness, but these things are impermanent. Everything in life is constantly changing, and yet, we try to hold on to what is fleeting. This creates a disconnect between our expectations and reality, and that gap is where our suffering begins. Think about this. We are like someone standing in a river, trying to hold on to the water. No matter how tightly we grasp, the water slips through our fingers, and yet, we continue to try. The river flows, as life does, always moving, always changing. The more we try to stop the flow, the more we resist the natural current of life, the more we struggle. This is attachment. Let me share a story with you. There was once a man who owned a beautiful vase. He cherished this vase more than anything else he possessed. Every day, he would clean it, admire it, and place it in a special spot in his home. But he was also consumed by fear. Fear that the vase might fall, that it might break, that he would lose it. One day, as he was dusting the vase, it slipped from his hands and shattered into 1,000 pieces. The man was heartbroken. He had attached so much of his happiness, his sense of security, to this vase that its loss felt unbearable. But here's the truth. The vase was always going to break. Whether it happened that day, or a year from now, or 10 years later, It was inevitable. The man's suffering didn't come from the vase breaking, but from his attachment to it. He had allowed himself to believe that this object, this fragile piece of pottery, could bring him lasting happiness. But nothing in this world can offer that, because everything is impermanent. So, how do we begin to understand and release our attachments? The first step is awareness. We must become aware of the things we are attached to and how those attachments are causing us pain. Often, we are not even conscious of our attachments. They are woven into the fabric of our daily lives, hidden behind our desires and fears. But if we take a moment to reflect, we can begin to see them. Ask yourself, what are you holding on to? Is it a relationship, a job, a belief, or maybe even an idea of who you think you should be? How much of your happiness depends on these things staying exactly as they are? The truth is, they won't. Everything changes, and when it does, we must be prepared to let go. Now, this doesn't mean that we should stop caring about people or things. Letting go of attachment is not the same as becoming indifferent. It's about shifting our perspective. It's about recognizing that while we may enjoy something, we don't need to depend on it for our happiness. We can appreciate the beauty of a flower without needing it to bloom forever. We can love someone deeply without trying to control them or make them fit into our expectations. Letting go of attachment means embracing the truth of impermanence. Buddhism teaches us that the more we cling, the more we suffer. When we hold on tightly, we create tension within ourselves. This tension arises from our desire for things to be different than they are, for things to last forever. But the reality is, nothing lasts forever. Everything we see, everything we experience, is in a constant state of change. Our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions, all are flowing, evolving. The sooner we accept this truth, the sooner we can find peace. There's a certain freedom that comes with this understanding. When we let go of our attachments, we stop trying to control the uncontrollable. We begin to flow with life rather than resist it. We no longer place our happiness in the hands of things that are outside of our control. Instead, we find happiness within ourselves, in the present moment, just as it is. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you're holding a rope. On the other end of the rope is a heavy weight. The more you pull on the rope, the harder it becomes to hold on. Your hands start to hurt, your muscles strain, and yet you keep pulling, believing that if you just hold on a little longer, things will get better. But what happens when you finally let go of the rope? The weight falls, and instantly, you feel relief. That's what letting go of attachment feels like. It's a release, a surrender, and in that surrender, we find peace. But letting go is not something we do once and forget about. It's a practice, something we must continually work on. Life will always present us with new opportunities to attach, to hold on to things that seem important. But with each attachment, we are given the chance to practice letting go once more. As we continue this journey of exploring the power of letting go, remember this. It's not about giving up or losing. It's about freeing ourselves from the chains of attachment that bind us. It's about recognizing that true happiness doesn't come from holding on, but from releasing, from flowing with the changes of life rather than resisting them. In the next part, we will explore how we can begin to accept things as they are, and why acceptance is such a crucial part of letting go. For now, reflect on your own attachments. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What can you begin to release, even just a little, to lighten your load? The practice of detachment, finding freedom. Let's take a quiet moment together, a pause in the busyness of life. What do you see when you look around? The world is always in motion. Things come and go, moments pass by, and everything is constantly changing. Yet, there is something deep within us that resists this flow. We hold on tightly, don't we? To people, to objects, to ideas, and even to outcomes we desire. But this holding on, this attachment, is where suffering begins. Now, let me ask you, what does it feel like when you cling too hard to something? It may be a relationship, a possession, or even a dream. It's like grasping a rope too tightly. After a while, your hand starts to hurt. The tighter you hold, the more pain you feel. And the irony is, the rope doesn't stop moving just because you're holding on. The world keeps moving, life keeps flowing, but you're stuck in one place, unable to move forward. This is the lesson of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean we stop caring or stop loving. No, it simply means we stop clinging. It's about releasing the need to control or possess. When we practice detachment, we free ourselves from the burden of constant worry, stress, and fear. We allow things to come and go, without trying to force them to stay in our lives longer than they are meant to. Think about it like this. Imagine you are standing by a river. The water flows continuously, carrying leaves, sticks, and all kinds of things downstream. You can stand there and watch the water flow. Or you can jump in and try to catch every leaf and stick that floats by. But what happens when you try to grab every single thing? You'll get exhausted, pulled by the current, trying to hold on to things that are meant to float away. This is how we often live, trying to hold on to everything that passes through our lives, never allowing anything to simply flow away. Detachment is standing by the river, letting things come and go as they please, without trying to hold on or force anything to stay. It's the recognition that everything in life is temporary, and that's okay. When we practice detachment, we find peace, because we stop fighting against the natural flow of life. You may wonder, but what about the things I love? My family, my friends, my passions. Should I detach from those too? The answer is no. You don't stop loving or caring. Instead, you love without attachment. You love without the fear of losing. You love without the need to possess. This is true freedom. When you love with detachment, your love is pure. It is not tangled with expectations or demands. You allow others to be who they are, without trying to change or control them. This is a difficult practice, I know. We've been taught, since childhood, that holding on tightly is how we keep what we value. But the truth is, the tighter we hold, the more likely we are to lose it. Clinging creates pressure, and pressure leads to cracks. Whether it's in relationships, goals, or even personal beliefs, the tighter we cling, the more fragile they become. Now, let's take this into your everyday life. Think of a time when you were holding on too tightly to something. Maybe it was a job you no longer enjoyed but felt scared to leave. Or maybe it was a friendship that had changed, but you were afraid to let go because of shared history. Or maybe it was an idea of success you had in your mind, something you thought you had to achieve to be happy. How did that attachment affect you? Did it bring you peace, or did it bring you stress? More often than not, attachment brings anxiety and restlessness. Detachment is about letting go of that inner tension. It's about learning to live without fear of loss, and without the constant need to control outcomes. It's about trusting that life will bring you what you need, when you need it, and that letting go doesn't mean you lose. It means you gain freedom. Buddhism teaches us that attachment is one of the main sources of suffering. We suffer when we cling to things that are impermanent, things that will inevitably change, fade, or pass away. But when we detach, we open ourselves to the reality of impermanence, and in doing so, we free ourselves from suffering. This is not to say that we become cold or indifferent. Detachment is not about shutting down emotionally. It's about seeing things clearly, as they are, without the lens of attachment distorting our view. There's a story I like to share, a simple one, but it speaks volumes about the power of detachment. Imagine you are holding a cup of water. You hold it loosely in your hand, allowing it to rest naturally. The water stays in the cup, and you feel at ease. Now, imagine you grip the cup tightly, afraid that the water might spill. Your hand begins to ache, and your fear of spilling grows. In your effort to hold on to the water, you end up in pain, and perhaps even spill the water anyway. But when you loosen your grip, the cup remains steady, and you are at peace. Life is like that cup of water. The more we try to hold on, the more we suffer. But when we loosen our grip, we find balance and peace. Detachment is about loosening that grip on outcomes, on expectations, on control. In Buddhist practice, one way we cultivate detachment is through mindfulness. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without becoming attached to them. We learn to watch our thoughts come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. We see our emotions rise and fall, like waves in the ocean. When we practice mindfulness, we become more aware of our tendency to cling, and we can gently guide ourselves back to a state of calm detachment. You can start practicing detachment right now, in small ways. The next time you feel yourself becoming overly attached to something, a plan, An expectation, a desire. Pause and ask yourself, what happens if I let this go? Often, you'll find that the world doesn't fall apart. In fact, things often flow more smoothly when we release our tight grip. Remember, detachment doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, something we get better at with time. But the more we practice, the more freedom we find. Freedom from worry, from fear, from the endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. So, start small. Let go of the little things, and over time, you'll find that you're able to let go of the bigger things too. And with each step of detachment, you'll feel lighter, more at peace, and more connected to the true flow of life. Let go, and see how your life begins to change. Let go, and find the freedom that's been waiting for you all along. The practice of detachment, finding freedom. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a rope. On the other end of this rope is something you've been struggling with, a worry, a fear, or a desire that you can't seem to let go of. The more you hold onto the rope, the tighter your grip becomes, the more tension you feel. But what happens if you just release the rope? The tension vanishes, the struggle ends, and suddenly, you feel lighter. This is the essence of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean that we stop caring. It simply means that we stop clinging. We stop holding on to things so tightly that they cause us suffering. And when we do this, we find freedom. Now, I know this might sound easier said than done. Many people think that detachment means we have to give up everything. Our relationships, our passions, even our dreams. But that's not true. Detachment is about releasing the unhealthy attachments we have to things. It's about letting go of the idea that our happiness depends on anything outside of ourselves. When we practice detachment, we still care deeply, but we're not controlled by our desires or fears. We no longer cling to things that are temporary, knowing that true peace comes from within. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who came to a wise teacher with a troubled heart. The man was frustrated with life, constantly seeking happiness in material possessions, relationships, and achievements. But no matter what he gained, it was never enough. He felt empty, always searching for more. So he asked the teacher, "How can I find peace? How can I feel satisfied?" The teacher smiled and gave the man a glass filled with water. "Hold this glass tightly," the teacher said. The man gripped the glass as instructed. "Now, what do you feel?" asked the teacher. "My hand is starting to hurt," the man replied. "Exactly," said the teacher. "The tighter you hold on, the more pain you feel. If you loosen your grip, you'll no longer feel the pain. Let go of the idea that you need more to be happy. True peace comes when you stop clinging. This is the key to detachment. We don't have to abandon the things we love, but we do have to stop thinking that our worth or happiness depends on them. Detachment allows us to experience life fully without becoming enslaved by our desires or fears. One of the most common sources of attachment is our desire for control. We often believe that if we can just control our circumstances, we can control our happiness. We try to control other people, events, and even the future. But life is unpredictable, and the more we try to control it, the more frustrated and anxious we become. Detachment invites us to release the need for control and to trust in the natural flow of life. In Buddhism, detachment is a practice that leads to liberation from suffering. When we detach, we recognize that everything in life is impermanent. Our experiences, our possessions, even our bodies. Clinging to these things only creates suffering because they will inevitably change or disappear. Detachment helps us to accept this impermanence with grace and understanding. Now, you may wonder, how do I practice detachment in my daily life? It starts with awareness. Begin by noticing where you are holding on too tightly. It could be a relationship where you feel overly dependent on the other person for your happiness. Or it could be a desire for success, where you believe that achieving a certain goal will finally make you feel fulfilled. Once you become aware of these attachments, you can begin to loosen your grip. Take small steps. Start by letting go of the need to control every outcome. Trust that things will unfold as they are meant to, and focus on doing your best in each moment without becoming attached to the result. For example, if you're working on a project, put your full effort into it, but don't become attached to whether it succeeds or fails. Know that you are more than the outcome of your efforts. Detachment also means letting go of expectations. How often do we expect others to behave a certain way or for life to go according to our plans? And when it doesn't, we feel disappointed, frustrated, or even angry. By practicing detachment, we release these expectations and allow life to unfold naturally. We stop fighting against reality and instead flow with it. One practical way to cultivate detachment is through mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us stay present and observe our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. When you practice mindfulness, you notice when you are clinging, whether it's to an idea, a feeling, or a possession, and you gently remind yourself to let go. It's not about forcing yourself to detach, but rather allowing yourself to see things as they are, without needing them to be different. Another important aspect of detachment is understanding that we cannot control other people. We often think that if we can just change someone else's behavior, we'll feel better. But the truth is, we can't control others, and trying to do so only leads to frustration. Detachment means letting go of the need to control others and instead focusing on our own inner peace. When we practice detachment, we open ourselves up to true freedom. We are no longer weighed down by the fear of losing something or the constant pursuit of more. We begin to experience life with a sense of lightness, knowing that we can find joy in the present moment without needing anything else to complete us. As you continue on this journey, remember that detachment is not about indifference. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of attachment that create suffering. It's about finding peace in the present without clinging to the past or worrying about the future. In the end, detachment allows you to live more fully and freely, embracing life with an open heart and mind. The practice of detachment is one of the most liberating and transformative paths you can walk. It requires patience, mindfulness, and a willingness to let go of what no longer serves you. But the freedom you will experience on the other side is worth every step. Remember, you are not your possessions, your achievements, or even your thoughts. You are the awareness behind it all, and that awareness is free. Overcoming fear, letting go of control. Listen carefully, my friend. For today we speak of something that touches us all, fear. Fear often arises from the belief that we must control everything around us. We think that by holding on tightly, we can prevent bad things from happening, or that we can force life to go the way we want it to. But tell me, have you noticed? The more we try to control, the more fear takes root in our hearts. We begin to fear what we cannot change, what we cannot predict, and what we cannot grasp. But what if I told you that true freedom lies not in holding on, but in letting go? Consider this. Imagine you are standing in a river. The water flows swiftly, carrying along leaves, branches, and even stones. You, however, hold onto a rock in the middle of the current. You grip it tightly, afraid that if you let go, the river will sweep you away into the unknown. But with every second you hold on, the river's force presses harder against you. The strain of resisting becomes exhausting, and the fear of being carried away grows stronger. This, my friend, is what happens when we try to control life. We resist the natural flow, and that resistance brings us suffering. The rock you cling to represents your desire to control things, your fears, your worries, your need for certainty. But the truth is, life flows like that river. It moves on whether we resist it or not. And the harder we try to control it, the more we suffer. So, what must you do? Let go of the rock. Trust the flow of the river. This is not surrendering to defeat, but opening yourself to a greater wisdom. The wisdom that life is ever-changing, unpredictable, and beyond our control. When we stop resisting, when we stop trying to control every outcome, we find peace. Now, I know this is easier said than done. You might wonder, if I let go of control, won't things fall apart? Won't I be lost in the current? These are the fears that hold us back. But here's the key. Letting go of control does not mean abandoning responsibility or action. It means releasing the illusion that you can control everything. You still navigate the river, but now, instead of resisting, you flow with it. You learn to adapt, to move with life's changes, rather than struggle against them. Fear is natural, my friend. It is part of being human, but we must understand its roots. Fear often grows from uncertainty, from the unknown. We fear the future because we cannot see it. We fear outcomes we cannot predict. We fear losing what we value. our loved ones, our status, our possessions. And so, we try to control everything to protect ourselves from these fears. But here is a simple truth. No amount of control can guarantee safety. The future is always uncertain, and nothing in life is permanent. Trying to control the uncontrollable only leads to frustration, anxiety, and, yes, even more fear. Instead of seeking control, seek understanding. Fear loses its power when we understand it. Ask yourself, what am I truly afraid of? Is this fear real, or is it a story my mind has created? Often, our fears are based not on reality, but on imagined scenarios. We create elaborate stories in our minds of what might go wrong, what we might lose, what pain we might face. And then we cling to these stories as if they are the truth. But are they the truth? Or are they simply projections of the mind, shaped by past experiences and future worries? Letting go of control requires that we live in the present moment. The past is gone, and the future has not yet come. All we have is now. When we focus on the present, we find that many of the fears that once consumed us begin to fade. In this moment, here and now, there is no need to control. There is only being, only living, only breathing. I ask you, can you trust life enough to let go? Can you trust yourself enough to flow with the current, knowing that whatever happens, you have the strength to face it? This trust is the antidote to fear. It is the wisdom that comes from knowing that life is a series of moments, and each moment offers something new. We cannot control the river, but we can learn to swim. Let us reflect for a moment on the teachings of the Buddha. He spoke often of impermanence, that everything in life is constantly changing. Nothing remains the same. By accepting this, we free ourselves from the suffering that comes from attachment. We realize that control is an illusion, and that the only true control we have is over our own mind and heart. When you feel fear rising, take a breath. Ground yourself in the present. Ask yourself, what am I trying to control? Then, gently remind yourself that it is okay to let go. It is okay to release your grip on the rock and trust the flow of the river. Life will carry you, my friend, if you allow it to. This practice of letting go is not a one-time event. It is something we must do again and again. Each time fear arises, we practice letting go in small ways so that when the bigger challenges come, we are prepared. Start by letting go of small worries, small fears, and notice how your heart begins to lighten. As you continue this journey, you will discover that the more you let go, the more peace you will find. Fear loses its hold when we no longer need to control everything. Instead, we find strength and trust and openness in being present with whatever life brings. Remember, my friend, letting go is a practice. It takes time and patience, but with each step, you move closer to freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from the need to control, and freedom to live fully in the present moment. So, release your grip. Let the river flow. Trust in the wisdom of letting go. The role of compassion in letting go. Compassion is a powerful force in our journey of letting go. It is the gentle understanding and kindness we extend to ourselves and others, especially during times of change and release. When we practice compassion, we create a space where letting go becomes not just possible, but also healing. Imagine carrying a burden that weighs heavily on your heart. Without compassion, letting go can feel like abandoning a part of yourself. But with compassion, you approach this burden with kindness, allowing yourself to release it without judgment or guilt. This is the essence of compassionate letting go. In Buddhism, compassion, or karu, is one of the fundamental virtues. It is the desire to alleviate the suffering of others and ourselves. When we let go of attachments, we often face inner turmoil and emotional pain. Compassion helps us navigate these feelings with grace and understanding, making the process less daunting. Compassion begins with self-compassion. It means acknowledging your own struggles and treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Instead of criticizing yourself for holding on too tightly, you gently encourage yourself to release what no longer serves you. This nurturing approach fosters a healthier relationship with yourself, paving the way for genuine letting go. Extending compassion to others is equally important. Letting go often involves relationships and connections that have shaped our lives. By approaching these relationships with compassion, we honor the experiences and emotions involved. This does not mean clinging to the past, but rather appreciating the lessons learned and allowing both yourself and others the freedom to grow. Compassionate letting go also means understanding that everyone is on their own path. We all carry our own burdens and face our own challenges. By practicing compassion, we reduce feelings of resentment and foster a sense of unity and interconnectedness. This perspective makes it easier to let go, knowing that each person is doing the best they can. Furthermore, compassion enhances our ability to forgive. Holding on to anger and resentment only prolongs our suffering. By approaching these emotions with compassion, we can release them more easily, freeing ourselves from their grip. Forgiveness, fueled by compassion, becomes a natural part of the letting go process. In moments of difficulty, compassion acts as a soothing balm. It reminds us that it is okay to feel pain, and that letting go does not mean we are weak or failing. Instead, it signifies our strength and resilience in choosing peace over turmoil. This compassionate mindset transforms letting go from a struggle into a journey of healing. Moreover, compassion encourages patience. Letting go is not always immediate. It often requires time and gentle persistence. By being patient with ourselves and others, we allow the natural process of release to unfold without forcing or rushing it. This patience nurtures a more sustainable and heartfelt letting go. As we cultivate compassion, we also develop empathy. Empathy allows us to connect deeply with our own emotions and those of others. This connection makes the act of letting go more meaningful, as it is done with a full understanding of the emotional landscape involved. Empathy bridges the gap between holding on and letting go, making the transition smoother. Compassionate letting go also fosters gratitude. When we let go of what we no longer need, we create space to appreciate what we do have. This shift in focus from loss to appreciation enriches our lives and reinforces the positive aspects of our journey. Gratitude becomes a companion to letting go, enhancing our overall sense of well-being. In daily life, practicing compassion can be as simple as taking a moment to breathe and acknowledge your feelings. It can involve offering a kind word to someone who is struggling or giving yourself permission to rest and heal. These small acts of compassion accumulate, strengthening our capacity to let go with love and understanding. Compassion also teaches us to embrace imperfection. Letting go often involves recognizing that neither we nor others are perfect. By accepting our own flaws and those of others, we reduce the pressure to hold on to unrealistic ideals. This acceptance makes it easier to release attachments and embrace the present moment. In the practice of meditation, compassion plays a crucial role. Mindful meditation encourages us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. This non-reactive awareness fosters a compassionate attitude, allowing us to let go of negative patterns and cultivate a peaceful mind. Through meditation, compassion becomes a natural extension of our inner awareness. Ultimately, the role of compassion in letting go is about creating a harmonious balance between holding on and releasing. It is about understanding when to maintain what is beneficial and when to let go of what hinders our growth. Compassion guides us in making these decisions with wisdom and kindness, ensuring that our letting go is both intentional and healing. As we continue our journey, let us remember that compassion is not a one-time act but a continuous practice. It is a way of being that permeates every aspect of our lives, making the process of letting go a compassionate and transformative experience. Through compassion, we find the strength to release, the courage to move forward, and the peace that comes with true liberation. Non-judgment, freeing the mind from labels. In our daily lives, we often find ourselves judging others and ourselves. We label people based on their actions, appearances, or words. But what if these labels are holding us back from true understanding and peace? The practice of non-judgment can free our minds and help us let go of unnecessary burdens. Imagine walking through a beautiful garden. Each flower is unique, blooming in its own way. If you start labeling some flowers as less beautiful or important, you miss the true beauty of the garden. Similarly, when we judge others or ourselves, we miss the true essence of who we are and who others are. The Zen master sits peacefully, observing the world without judgment. He sees people not for their flaws or mistakes, but for their inherent worth and potential. This non-judgmental perspective allows him to connect deeply with others and with himself. When we judge, we create a barrier between ourselves and others. It leads to misunderstandings and conflicts. Non-judgment helps us see beyond these barriers, fostering compassion and empathy. By letting go of judgment, we open our hearts to genuine connections and inner peace. Non-judgment begins with awareness. Notice when you are about to judge someone or yourself. Pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself why you feel the need to label. Often, judgments stem from our own fears and insecurities. Understanding this can help us release the urge to judge. Letting go of labels doesn't mean ignoring mistakes or accepting harmful behavior. It means approaching situations with a clear and open mind. By doing so, we can address issues more effectively and compassionately without the cloud of judgment. The practice of non-judgment also applies to our thoughts. We often judge our own thoughts and feelings, labeling them as good or bad. This self-judgment can create inner turmoil and hinder our personal growth. Embracing non-judgment allows us to observe our thoughts without attachment, fostering a peaceful mind. In Buddhism, non-judgment is closely linked to the concept of mindfulness. Being mindful means being present and fully aware of each moment without labeling it. This presence helps us appreciate life as it is, without the distortions of our judgments. The Zen master teaches that every person has their own journey. By letting go of judgment, we respect each individual's path and experiences. This respect nurtures a harmonious and supportive community where everyone can thrive. Letting go of judgment also liberates us from the need to control how others behave. When we stop labeling and judging, we allow others the freedom to be themselves. This freedom creates a space for authentic interactions and mutual respect. Practicing non-judgment can be challenging, especially when we are deeply hurt or disappointed. However, with patience and persistence, it becomes easier. Each time we choose non-judgment, we strengthen our ability to let go and embrace peace. The Zen master encourages us to practice non-judgment in small ways. Start by observing without immediately labeling. When you see someone act a certain way, instead of judging, try to understand their perspective. This shift in approach can transform your relationships and your inner world. Non-judgment also involves accepting ourselves as we are. We all have strengths and weaknesses, successes and failures. Embracing our true selves without judgment allows us to grow and improve from a place of self-compassion. In letting go of judgment, we find freedom from the expectations and standards we impose on ourselves and others. This freedom opens up new possibilities for happiness and fulfillment, unburdened by the weight of constant evaluation. The Zen master reminds us that non-judgment is not about perfection. It's about progress and the continuous effort to see the world and ourselves more clearly and kindly. Each step towards non-judgment is a step towards a more peaceful and enlightened life. By practicing non-judgment, we cultivate a mind that is open, accepting, and free. This liberated mind can navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience, finding peace amidst the chaos. Letting go of judgment also enhances our ability to live in the present moment. When we are not distracted by judgments, we can fully experience and appreciate each moment as it unfolds, enriching our lives with mindfulness and awareness. The Zen master's teachings on non-judgment guide us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. This understanding fosters harmony and balance, both within ourselves and in our interactions with the world. As we continue our journey of letting go, remember that non-judgment is a powerful tool. It helps us release negative thoughts and emotions, making space for peace, love, and compassion to flourish. Embracing non-judgment transforms our perspective, allowing us to see the beauty and potential in every situation and every person. This transformation is the key to true freedom and happiness. In conclusion, the practice of non-judgment is essential in freeing the mind from labels. It enables us to live with greater clarity, compassion, and peace. By letting go of judgment, we embrace a life of true understanding and liberation. Mindfulness, staying present while letting go. In the journey of letting go, mindfulness plays a crucial role. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, aware of where we are and what we're doing, without being overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's happening around us. It's about observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment, allowing us to understand and release attachments that no longer serve us. Imagine sitting by a calm lake. The water is still, reflecting the sky above. As you watch, leaves fall gently onto the surface, creating ripples that slowly fade away. This image embodies mindfulness, being present with each moment as it comes and goes. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to accept each experience without clinging to it or pushing it away. Mindfulness helps us recognize the patterns of our thoughts and emotions. Often, we hold on to things because we're not fully aware of why we're attached to them. By staying present, we can observe these attachments and understand their impact on our lives. This awareness is the first step towards letting go. One of the key aspects of mindfulness is breathing. Our breath is always with us, a constant reminder of the present moment. When we focus on our breath, we anchor ourselves in the here and now. This simple practice can help calm our minds and reduce the stress that comes from holding on to the past or worrying about the future. Mindfulness also teaches us to embrace impermanence. Everything in life is temporary. Our thoughts, emotions, and experiences are constantly changing. By accepting this truth, we can begin to let go of the need to control everything. We learn to flow with life, rather than resisting it, which brings a sense of peace and freedom. When we practice mindfulness, we become more attuned to our bodies. We notice sensations, tensions, and areas of discomfort. This physical awareness can reveal where we hold onto stress and negativity. By acknowledging these sensations, we can release the tension and allow ourselves to relax and let go. Mindfulness encourages us to live with intention. Instead of reacting automatically to situations, we choose how we respond. This conscious choice empowers us to let go of harmful habits and embrace positive changes. It helps us break free from patterns that keep us stuck and move towards a more fulfilling life. In our daily lives, mindfulness can be integrated into simple activities. Whether it's eating, walking, or even washing dishes, we can bring full attention to each action. By doing so, we transform ordinary moments into opportunities for growth and letting go. This consistent practice builds a strong foundation for lasting change. Mindfulness also fosters compassion, both for ourselves and others. When we're present, we become more understanding and patient. We recognize that everyone is on their own journey, facing their own struggles. This empathy helps us let go of judgments and embrace kindness, creating harmonious relationships and a supportive community. Another benefit of mindfulness is increased clarity. When we clear our minds of clutter and distractions, we see things more clearly. This clarity allows us to make better decisions, free from the influence of past attachments. We can focus on what truly matters, letting go of what no longer aligns with our values and goals. Mindfulness helps us manage our emotions effectively. Instead of being swept away by anger, sadness, or anxiety, we observe these feelings with detachment. This perspective allows us to address our emotions constructively, letting go of negative patterns and fostering emotional resilience. Through mindfulness, we develop a deeper connection with ourselves. We become more aware of our true desires and needs, separate from societal expectations or external pressures. This self-awareness empowers us to let go of what doesn't serve our authentic selves and pursue what brings genuine happiness and fulfillment. Mindfulness also enhances our ability to forgive. Holding on to grudges and resentment only harms ourselves. By being present and understanding the root of these negative emotions, we can release them and move forward with a lighter heart. Forgiveness becomes a natural part of our letting go process. In moments of difficulty, mindfulness provides a sense of stability. Life is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable. By staying present, we remain grounded and better equipped to handle whatever comes our way. This inner stability makes it easier to let go of fear and embrace change with confidence. Mindfulness practice can be supported through meditation. Setting aside time each day to sit quietly and focus on the present can deepen our awareness and strengthen our ability to let go. Meditation cultivates a calm and focused mind, essential for maintaining mindfulness throughout the day. Mindfulness also improves our relationships. By being fully present with others, we listen more deeply and communicate more effectively. This presence fosters trust and understanding, allowing us to let go of misunderstandings and build stronger connections with those around us. As we continue to practice mindfulness, we begin to notice subtle shifts in our mindset. We become less reactive and more responsive, making choices that align with our true selves. This shift supports our letting go journey as we release what no longer serves us and embrace what truly matters. Mindfulness encourages gratitude. When we are present, we appreciate the small moments and the beauty of everyday life. This gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, making it easier to let go of desires and attachments that cause dissatisfaction. Through mindfulness, we learn to enjoy solitude without feeling lonely. Being present with ourselves allows us to find peace and contentment within, reducing the need to seek validation or comfort from external sources. This inner peace is a powerful tool in the letting go process. Mindfulness also enhances our creativity and problem-solving skills. A clear and focused mind can approach challenges with fresh perspectives, finding innovative solutions without being hindered by past limitations. This creative freedom supports our ability to let go and move forward. Incorporating mindfulness into our lives requires patience and consistency. It's not an overnight transformation, but a gradual process of becoming more aware and present. Each mindful moment builds upon the last, creating a cumulative effect that strengthens our ability to let go. Mindfulness helps us embrace uncertainty. Life is full of unknowns, and letting go often involves stepping into the unknown. By staying present, we can navigate uncertainty with grace and confidence, trusting that each moment unfolds as it should. As we practice mindfulness, we cultivate a sense of inner peace that transcends external circumstances. This peace becomes our constant companion, supporting us in letting go of stress, anxiety, and attachments that disrupt our harmony. Mindfulness also deepens our spiritual practice. It aligns us with the teachings of Buddhism, which emphasize the importance of living in the present and letting go of attachments. This alignment fosters spiritual growth and a deeper understanding of our true nature. In conclusion, mindfulness is a powerful ally in the journey of letting go. It grounds us in the present moment, fosters self-awareness, and cultivates inner peace. By embracing mindfulness, we equip ourselves with the tools needed to release attachments and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. As we continue to practice mindfulness, we unlock the true power of letting go, transforming our lives in profound and lasting ways. The power of forgiveness, releasing resentment. In the quiet moments of the morning, as the sun rises and paints the sky with hues of orange and pink, a Zen master sits peacefully beneath a blossoming cherry tree. He begins to share his wisdom with those who seek understanding. Forgiveness is often seen as a simple act, but its power runs deep. Have you ever held onto a hurt so tightly that it weighs you down every day? Why do we let resentment linger in our hearts, causing us pain long after the original wound has healed? What if releasing that resentment could bring you peace and freedom? Imagine carrying a heavy stone in your pocket every day. At first, it might not seem like much, but over time, the weight becomes unbearable. This stone represents your anger and resentment. Each step you take is harder, each movement more strained. Now, picture yourself taking out that stone and setting it aside. Suddenly, your steps are lighter, your journey easier. This is the essence of forgiveness. The Zen master explains that forgiveness is not about condoning wrongdoing or forgetting the past. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of anger and bitterness that bind you. When you hold on to resentment, you carry the burden of negative emotions, which can cloud your mind and weigh heavy on your spirit. Letting go of these feelings allows you to embrace peace and move forward with a clear heart. Forgiveness begins with understanding. It requires looking inward and recognizing the impact that holding on to resentment has on your well-being. The Zen master asks, what do you gain by holding on to anger? What do you lose by letting it go? Often, the answer is clear. By holding on to anger, you allow it to control you, dictating your emotions and actions. By letting it go, you reclaim your power and invite tranquility into your life. One simple example the Zen master shares is that of a river flowing smoothly when free of obstacles. But when debris blocks its path, the water becomes turbulent and chaotic. Similarly, our emotions flow freely when we let go of resentment. When we hold on to negative feelings, they create turbulence within us, disrupting our inner peace and harmony. The journey to forgiveness is not always easy. It requires patience, compassion, and a willingness to see things from another's perspective. The Zen master encourages his listeners to practice empathy, to understand that everyone is on their own path and that mistakes are part of the human experience. By cultivating compassion, you can soften your heart and open the door to forgiveness. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process. By staying present and aware of your thoughts and emotions, you can catch resentment before it takes root. The Zen master teaches that observing your feelings without judgment allows you to acknowledge them and choose whether to hold onto them or release them. This mindful awareness is the key to transforming anger into peace. Forgiveness also involves letting go of expectations. Often, we hold on to resentment because we expect others to act or change in a certain way. When those expectations are not met, frustration and anger arise. The Zen master advises embracing the present moment as it is, without imposing our desires onto others. This acceptance paves the way for genuine forgiveness. Another important aspect is self-forgiveness. Many times, the hardest person to forgive is ourselves. The Zen master reminds us that self-compassion is essential for healing. By forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, we can move forward with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. The benefits of forgiveness extend beyond emotional relief. It can improve your physical health, reduce stress, and enhance your relationships. Letting go of resentment allows you to connect more deeply with others, fostering a sense of community and understanding. The Zen master emphasizes that forgiveness is not a one-time act but a continuous practice that enriches your life in countless ways. In moments of anger or hurt, the Zen master suggests taking a deep breath and pausing before reacting. This brief pause can create the space needed to choose forgiveness over resentment. It's a small yet powerful step towards reclaiming your peace and happiness. As the conversation continues, the Zen master shares a story of a farmer whose horse ran away. When the neighbors expressed their sympathy, the farmer simply replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." This story illustrates the principle of non-attachment and acceptance, foundational elements of forgiveness. By not clinging to judgments or emotions, the farmer remains serene, regardless of the situation. The path to forgiveness is illuminated by these teachings, guiding you to release resentment and embrace a life of peace and fulfillment. The Zen master's words resonate deeply, reminding you that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a chance to live unburdened by the past and open to the possibilities of the present. In conclusion, the power of forgiveness lies in its ability to transform your inner world. By letting go of resentment, you free yourself from the chains that hold you back, allowing your spirit to soar. The Zen master's wisdom encourages you to embark on this journey of forgiveness, promising that with each step, you move closer to a life of true liberation and harmony. Letting go of the need for validation. In our journey of letting go, one of the most common attachments we hold on to is the need for validation. We often seek approval from others to feel worthy, loved, or successful. This need can shape our actions, decisions, and even our sense of self. But what happens when we rely too heavily on external validation? Imagine a tree that constantly bends towards the light, always seeking the sun's approval to grow. While it reaches for the light, it may lose its balance and become weak. Similarly, when we seek validation from others, we may lose our sense of balance and inner strength. We become dependent on others' opinions to feel secure, which can lead to anxiety, stress, and a loss of self-identity. Buddhism teaches us that true happiness and peace come from within, not from external sources. When we let go of the need for validation, we begin to find our own worth and strength. We start to understand that our value is inherent and not dependent on what others think of us. This shift in perspective allows us to live more authentically and freely. Letting go of the need for validation involves several key steps. First, it requires self-awareness. We must recognize when we are seeking approval and understand the underlying reasons. Are we trying to fit in? Are we afraid of rejection? By identifying these motivations, we can begin to address them. Next, we cultivate self-acceptance. Embracing who we are, with all our strengths and weaknesses, is crucial. Self-acceptance means acknowledging our imperfections and understanding that they do not diminish our worth. It is a compassionate stance towards ourselves, recognizing that we are deserving of love, and respect simply because we exist. Another important aspect is developing inner confidence. When we trust ourselves and our own judgments, we become less reliant on others' opinions. Inner confidence allows us to make decisions based on our values and beliefs, rather than seeking approval from those around us. It empowers us to live in alignment with our true selves. Mindfulness practices can also aid in letting go of the need for validation. By staying present and observing our thoughts without judgment, we can become more aware of our patterns of seeking approval. Mindfulness helps us to detach from these habits and respond to situations with clarity and calmness. Moreover, setting healthy boundaries is essential. We need to protect our energy and prioritize our well-being over pleasing others. This might mean saying no when something doesn't align with our values, or stepping back from relationships that are draining or manipulative. Boundaries help us maintain our sense of self and prevent us from becoming overly dependent on others for validation. Embracing impermanence is another key principle in Buddhism that supports this process. Understanding that everything is transient, including others' opinions of us, helps us to let go more easily. When we realize that approval or disapproval is temporary, we can reduce the power it holds over us. Letting go of the need for validation also opens the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. When we are not constantly seeking approval, we can engage with others more authentically. Our relationships become based on mutual respect and genuine understanding, rather than on superficial approval. Additionally, focusing on our own growth and self-improvement can shift our focus away from seeking validation. When we are committed to personal development, our actions are driven by our aspirations and goals, not by the desire to impress others. This internal motivation fosters a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment that is independent of external recognition. Practicing gratitude is another powerful tool in this journey. By appreciating what we have and recognizing our own strengths, we cultivate a positive self-view that does not rely on others' validation. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we possess, reinforcing our sense of self-worth. It's also important to surround ourselves with supportive and positive influences. Being around people who respect and accept us for who we are can reinforce our self-acceptance and reduce the urge to seek external validation. Positive relationships provide a safe space for us to be our true selves without fear of judgment. Letting go of the need for validation is not an overnight process. It requires patience, persistence, and self-compassion. There will be moments of doubt and setbacks, but each step forward brings us closer to inner freedom and peace. By continually practicing these principles, we gradually release our attachments and embrace a life of authenticity and self-love. In essence, letting go of the need for validation allows us to live more fully and freely. It empowers us to define our own worth and live in accordance with our true selves. As we release these attachments, we find a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment that comes from within, aligning us with the true essence of our being. Through this practice, we learn to trust ourselves and our journey. We become resilient in the face of challenges, knowing that our worth is not contingent on external approval. This inner strength enables us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and confidence, anchored in our own sense of self. Furthermore, letting go of the need for validation fosters creativity and innovation. When we are not constrained by others' expectations, we are free to explore new ideas and express ourselves uniquely. This freedom leads to personal growth and the realization of our true potential. As we continue on this path, we discover that true happiness is not something we seek outside of ourselves, but something we cultivate within. By letting go of the need for validation, we create space for genuine joy and contentment to flourish in our lives. In conclusion, letting go of the need for validation is a profound step towards inner liberation. It allows us to embrace our true selves, cultivate self-acceptance, and live authentically. By practicing mindfulness, setting boundaries, and focusing on personal growth, we release our attachments and find lasting peace and happiness from within. Conclusion: living a life of liberation. As we reach the end of our journey on the power of letting go, it's time to reflect on the transformation that has taken place. Letting go is not just a single act, but a continuous practice that leads us toward true liberation. Imagine walking through life with a heart unburdened by past hurts and a mind free from unnecessary attachments. This is the essence of living a liberated life. Throughout our exploration, we've learned that holding on to attachments only brings suffering. By embracing the principles of Buddhism, we've discovered ways to release these bonds and find peace within ourselves. Liberation isn't about escaping life but fully experiencing it with a clear and open heart. Living a life of liberation means accepting change as a natural part of existence. Just as seasons shift from spring to summer, so do the moments in our lives. By understanding and accepting this flow, we become more adaptable and resilient. This acceptance allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and ease. Compassion plays a crucial role in our journey toward liberation. When we cultivate compassion for ourselves and others, we create a harmonious environment that fosters growth and healing. Letting go of judgments and embracing kindness helps us build meaningful connections and strengthens our sense of community. Mindfulness continues to be our guiding light. Staying present in each moment helps us appreciate the beauty of life without being clouded by past regrets or future anxieties. Mindfulness teaches us to savor the now, making each experience richer and more fulfilling. Forgiveness is another powerful tool we've embraced. By letting go of resentment and anger, we free ourselves from the chains of negativity. Forgiving others and ourselves paves the way for inner peace and emotional freedom. It's a gift we give to ourselves, allowing our hearts to heal and open up to new possibilities. Trusting the flow of life is essential for our liberation. Surrendering to the natural course of events helps us relinquish the need for control. This trust fosters a sense of security and peace, knowing that everything happens for a reason. It encourages us to embrace uncertainty with confidence and hope. As we integrate these teachings into our daily lives, we begin to experience true liberation. Our minds become clear, our hearts become light, and our spirits soar free. This state of being allows us to live authentically, aligned with our true selves and the world around us. Liberation also brings a deeper understanding of our purpose. When we let go of distractions and focus on what truly matters, we uncover our passions and strengths. This clarity empowers us to pursue our goals with determination and joy, making our lives more meaningful and impactful. Embracing liberation means living with intention. Every action we take is guided by our inner wisdom and values. This intentional living creates a life filled with purpose, satisfaction, and harmony. It transforms mundane routines into meaningful rituals that nourish our souls. As we continue on this path, it's important to remember that liberation is a lifelong journey. There will be challenges and setbacks, but each step forward brings us closer to our true selves. By staying committed to letting go, we cultivate a resilient and liberated spirit. The beauty of liberation lies in its simplicity. Freeing ourselves from unnecessary attachments allows us to experience life more fully and joyously. It's about finding peace in the present moment and embracing the journey with an open heart and mind. In moments of doubt or struggle, we can return to the principles we've learned. Mindfulness, compassion, forgiveness, and trust are our anchors, grounding us in times of turbulence. They remind us of our strength and capacity to overcome any obstacle. Living a liberated life also means celebrating our achievements and milestones. Each step we take toward letting go is a victory worth acknowledging. These celebrations reinforce our progress and inspire us to continue on our path with enthusiasm and hope. As we share our experiences with others, we create a ripple effect of positivity and liberation. Our stories of letting go can inspire and uplift those around us, fostering a community of support and understanding. Together, we can build a world where liberation is accessible to all. In conclusion, the power of letting go transforms our lives in profound ways. It liberates us from the chains of attachment, allowing us to live with freedom, peace, and joy. By embracing these teachings, we embark on a journey of self-discovery and inner growth that leads to true liberation. Remember, liberation is within your reach. Each day is an opportunity to practice letting go and move closer to a life of freedom and fulfillment. Trust in the process, stay committed to your journey, and embrace the endless possibilities that come with living a liberated life. Thank you for joining us on this transformative journey. May the wisdom of letting go continue to guide you toward a life of peace, happiness, and liberation.